So before doing anything, go to your PS5, top right corner to settings, scroll down to system, then to remote play, and make sure remote play is enabled for your account, otherwise this won't work. Once that's done, make sure your PS5 is connected to the internet using a cable, an Ethernet cable from the back of your PS5 to your router. If that's not an option, make sure to use 5 GHz Wi-Fi, which is the fastest available, at least it should be. Otherwise, you have to compromise on quality quite a bit, and this improves latency significantly when you're using a cable. So again, if you can use an Ethernet cable from your PS5 to your router, that will be the best option. That's what I'm doing today. Okay, so to get started, grab your Steam Deck, go into the menu or the Steam button, power, switch to desktop. Now that you're on the desktop, open the Discover Store. And once you open the Discover Store, hit the Steam key and X, and you get the on-screen keyboard. And we're going to type Chiaki like this. Hit enter. And it will look up Chiaki for deck. In this case, it's right here, Chiaki-ng, hit install, and just wait for it to install, like this. Once that's done, it'll basically install by itself. You don't need to do anything in that regard. Okay, it's downloaded, hit launch, and what will show up first is official Steam artwork plus controller layout. You want this so it shows up in gaming mode, so hit yes. And let's put a name to this, probably PS5 remote play. And launch options, let's ignore it, so let's hit create. Then on Steam game, we hit close. And you need to restart Steam to see the changes, that's okay. Then remote play via PSN. Would you like to connect to PSN? This enables automatic registration and playing outside your home network. Yes, we want that, so we hit yes. Now you can close Chiaki-ng and go directly back into gaming mode. So we open gaming mode once again. Back into gaming mode, open the Steam menu, go to library, non-Steam, and this should be right here. It has its own art and everything, so hit play. And this will launch the application within gaming mode. So here it says, would you like to connect to PSN? In this case, yes. And it'll open a browser, so you have to put your PlayStation Network credentials. This is for everything to be automatic. But again, anything that you do with your PSN account isn't your full responsibility. So let me input my credentials. Alright, so if the sign in is successful, you have this message, create PSN automatic remote connection token, tokens generated. Before doing anything on the PS5, which mine is turned on, that's why it shows up, and it's on the same network, hit the small cog at the top right corner. And there's a lot of options here for whatever you want, especially haptics, audio and video. In this case, we're going to want to touch video and stream and all that. So depending on where you are, you can increase or decrease the quality. So for local remote play, so you're in the same network, you probably want higher quality because the local connection tends to be way faster. And then when you're outside of your home, you can do a different configuration. H.265, you can also do HDR if you have a Steam Deck OLED. I'll put this one for my OLED Steam Deck. Then remote, H.265 is better than H.264 when it comes to quality. At a lower number over here, you can do better quality, but the higher this number, the better the quality. Locally, I can probably do, yeah, like 50 maybe, but I'll keep it at 30. Usually H.265 looks good enough. And outside, it highly depends on what you're doing. If you're on a Wi-Fi somewhere else that is a fast Wi-Fi, you can get away with this or higher. It's a matter of testing it here and there. 720p for remote I think is fine. The Steam Deck is basically 800p, so it fits fine. But local 1080p, you get some super sampling, which I highly recommend. It looks awesome. But again, it all depends on your local connection and then on the connection of the place that you're going. So when you're getting outside of your house, and a Wi-Fi connection is highly recommended if you're in a cafe, as an example, or a hotel. This needs to be as fast as possible. Sharing internet from your phone with the Wi-Fi hotspot might not be great because of the latency, so keep that in mind. Then you can also change how the audio works. In this case, the output device and all that. In my opinion, do not touch any of this unless you know what you're doing. Here's to register more consoles. Here's what the keys do. Then when it comes to controllers, you can change the mapping. And you can clear also your PSN tokens if you are removing your account from the program. And by default, the render preset, I'll keep it on high quality. So this should be pretty good. You can also use default, so it's faster. If you're in the same network as your PS5, you should see it in this list with your local IP address. So let's register it. So open it. Would you like to use automatic registration? In this case, yes, because we enabled our PSN account. And it's going to do its thing. So let's wait a little bit. Okay, so now, according to this, the console is ready. So let's open it. And now we should have full control of the PS5 on our Steam Deck locally from outside our home. Let's see how it does. All right, so after a few seconds, you'll see you connected through Remote Play. The first time might take a bit, but here we are. We have the PS5 on our Steam Deck locally and over the internet. Now you should be all set up. So let me show you how it looks on the smaller screen. All right, so now I'm standing in a very awkward position. So you can see the Steam Deck and the PS5 locally. So this is on the local connection. You can see what input latency we're talking about. So let's open the Stranding 2. Thanks again to PlayStation for providing a code of the game. Okay, this looks fantastic on the smaller screen. You can see right there, if I move the camera, he has a little bit of delay, but again, we're locally playing. So on the smaller screen, that is 800p. Dude, this looks absolutely insane, super sharp. Remember that the PS5 is outputting 4K on the monitor. So we're actually grabbing that huge image, then down to 1080p and then down to 720. And this looks absolutely breathtaking. And it didn't take that much effort. Also, HDR is on, so if you want to use HDR, it will be on your console enabled. The Steam Deck will also enable HDR if you have an OLED Steam Deck. If you don't have an OLED Steam Deck, this will be SDR, but again, not even the PS Portal has HDR, so that's already an advantage. And also by default, funnily enough, we have gyro enabled, so when you put your finger on the stick, you have gyro aiming, which I find pretty funny, but you can disable it if you don't like it. And you can see it right there. I think the latency is completely manageable. Not sure if you can see it. I think it's completely fine. Again, that's what it looks like on the monitor in real time. This is if I was connected to a TV, and this is being locally streamed from my local network. But now we're going to change to Astrobot, so hit the trackpad on the left, and that's the PS button. And we go into Home, and we open Astrobot. Thanks again to PlayStation for providing a code for Astrobot. Actually my first time launching the game. So Astrobot, there we go. This is a game that actually, being a platformer, requires quite a bit of responsiveness. So yeah, a little bit of latency. But again, to play your PS5 portably like this, in this case, again, local network. If you are somewhere else, you have lower quality. But this responds very damn well. I'm super impressed always by the efforts of the community to make this work. So let's see, let's try. Well, you can slow down the video if you want to see it. But it works pretty damn well in my opinion so far. So we hit it in the face. Here we jump into the PS5 controller. Again, you can also enable haptics from the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck has haptics, doesn't have adaptive triggers, but the vibration will be simulated to match the one from the DualSense. So there we are, works fantastically well. And again, the input latency is very, very tiny. Definitely way better than using frame generation on a 20 FPS game on Steam Deck. In this case, this game is not available on Steam Deck. Neither is Death Stranding 2, at least yet, at the time of making this video. And now what we're doing is what you were waiting for. Bloodborne. So let's launch it. There we go, Bloodborne. Obviously running at 30 FPS, like on the original PS4. Still no improvements, no PS5 patch or anything, which absolutely sucks. And let's take a look at the latency. I don't know, I think it's completely fine. What do you guys think? Again, directly HDMI connection, stream to Steam Deck via local Wi-Fi. And again, the experience you're going to get when it comes to latency and all that, it's heavily dependent on your internet speed and stability. Personally, if you're playing outside of your house on a cafe or something, make sure you're connected to some Wi-Fi high-speed connection if possible. If you're doing a hotspot from your phone, it's probably not going to be super stable. But at least for me, it's working great. Again, outside of my house, I tried it a few times with Wi-Fi when I was in the US for vacation, and I lived like 7,500 kilometers from the US, and I was on a Wi-Fi at the hotel, and it wasn't the usual garbage hotel Wi-Fi, and I could play my PS5 like this. I had to lower the bitrate to 10 megabits per second using H.265, but it was a great experience. It worked completely fine. This, I think, was before the PS Portal even existed. But then when I used hotspot from my phone, well, let's just say it was horrible, completely unplayable, stuttery. So you can control the bitrate, go higher, lower, do whatever you want. You're done and you want to put your PS5 to sleep, hit the L4 button, I think it is. No, sorry, the L5 button, and this menu will show up. Yes, I want to put the PS5 to sleep. So now the PS5 is going to go into rest mode and you're basically done. So yeah guys, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to make it as brief and clear as possible. So when you're outside your house, it's just a matter of opening this app while connected to the internet. Your PS5 will show up because it's hooked to your Steam Deck using the PSN account. So it will work over the internet without doing anything weird on your router. Just make sure to tweak those quality settings like I showed you a few moments ago, so it looks and responds the best it can. If you found this video useful, share, subscribe, like the video, comment if you have any suggestions or questions, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys, thanks for watching.